Hello again, Dimitri, and welcome to another video. And this one's going to be another tech-related video. And this one's going to be about the Nintendo 2DS. Now, the 2DS obviously, interesting, version to the 3DS. Now, you might be thinking, well, Dominic, didn't you do something like this for the 3DS? Yeah, I did actually, but I did state at the end of that video that I was going to do a 2DS related video. And the reason is because of the fact I actually have a lot to talk about with this handheld. And I didn't, and I didn't want to, include it with the 3DS, even though this is still a 3DS, you know what I mean? But I have a lot of interesting things to talk about with this alternative to the 3DS. Different design, you know what I mean? So it'll be getting its own video, and this is it. So yeah. The 2DS, an interesting little handheld, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's a 3DS and stuff. Different design to, the 3DS that we've seen before, but to me, I think it looks quite snazzy. The 2DS came out in October 2013 and was announced mid to late 2013 that year. And there was a lot of controversy with this handheld, the way it looks. But in my opinion, I think it looks really, really nice. Different, as I said before, but stylish and comfy, it really, really is. So I'll show you the design of it and stuff. So yeah, you've got, the regular buttons and stuff. You've got the D-pad, the circle pad, as well as the D-pad. The regular buttons, the A, B, X, Y. Start and select, as well as a home button, there, and a power button. You've also got like an indicator light there, as well as the camera, and a mono speaker. On the bottom, you've got a headphone jack if you want to listen to, the sound when playing the video game, or listen to MP3s through the 2DS if you want. There's also a port there, a little sleep button, which I will talk about later on. On the other side, you've got a stylus, for the stylus really. A port for the SD card, full size, 4 gigabytes. There. That's it. A little port if you want to put like a wrist strap on it if you want, you know what I mean. That's if you want that, you know what I mean. On the other side, on the back, you've got the L and R triggers. Quite, nice buttons and stuff, touchy. To touch and stuff. Yeah. There's a port for the power, if you want to plug it in and charge it. An infrared port there if you want to use any sort of accessories, as well as the game card port for the 3DS and the DS games. And yeah, and there is the volume slide. So if you want to turn it off, turn it down or up. And then you just got the back of it though with the cameras, you know what I mean. So yeah. I think quite snazzy and stuff. Obviously shares the same, size as the original 3DS. Obviously that you can shut that up, close it, whereas this you can't. And that was one of the things that sort of put off people with the 2DS, was you couldn't really do that. My thoughts about the 2DS when it was first announced was, I thought it was a good idea, but with no clamshell, it sort of put me off with it. I thought, well, I want to eventually try this thing out, you know what I mean? It looks really, really interesting. The look of it looked nice, but with that clamshell, it sort of put off a lot of people. But I always said, I thought, okay, well, I want to definitely try that, try the 2DS sometime and see how it is. Because around that time when it came out, there was a lot of hatred towards the 2DS. There were a lot of people, saying, oh, this is going to fail, this is pointless, this is the new Game Boy Micro all over again. Yeah, there was a lot of comparisons between the 2DS and the Game Boy Micro back then. And, yeah, it's just how it goes and stuff. Now, back then, around that time in October 2013 when this launched, I actually did have a 3DS XL. I actually got this for Christmas 2012. And I played a lot of games on it, so I did. And I just enjoyed playing it. And I actually eventually had a try of the 2DS back in 2014 at an Asda Living store. And what ended up happening was, obviously I looked at the video games and stuff, and they had a demo kiosk unit, one with a 3DS XL and one with a 2DS. And the 3DS XL had Mario Kart 7, and the 2DS had Yoshi's New Island. So I played a bit of both and stuff. And I played it in Mario Kart 7 on the on the 3DS XL demo unit thing. And then I tried the 2DS, which had Yoshi's New Island. And I remember when I played it, I kept thinking, wow, this is really, really comfy. And I thought, this is nice to hold. The buttons feel good. It just feels good in the hands. And I felt really bad for what I said, but that's what happens though when you judge things, is that the problem with stuff now is that people judge stuff before you even tried it. You know what I mean? Which is unfair, but that's just how it goes. And I thought, I definitely want to get my hands on one of these sometime. It just felt nice, you know what I mean? And I did eventually get one. Obviously, I do have one. I got one several months ago, so I did. The reason is because a lot of people kept talking about it and stuff, and I thought, you know what? I want to get my hands on a 2DS. And it felt weird at first because obviously it'd been so long since I properly, held it. But then once I got used to it, it just felt comfy, and I quite like the comfort factor of this. It's really, really nice. A little interesting variation of the 3DS. But it's quite nice, it really, really is. So like I said, it plays all your games and stuff. Like I said, I played a lot of 3DS games and stuff, because when I bought this, it came with New Super Mario Bros. 2 built in. And I played a lot of games on that. And I also played a lot of DS games. And for a while, and I think even to this day, still after several months, I prefer to play DS games on this, even though I've got other things, you know what I mean? It just feels nice in the hands when you're playing DS games. Just feels nice, it really, really does. And comfy, you know what I mean? I know a lot of people might not like it, but it's quite nice and stuff. Now the difference, obviously, with the 2DS to the 3DS is obviously you got no 3D, which sort of may put off a lot of people. But it feels different when you play it without the 3D, but it's still a 3DS with no 3D. You know what I mean? And it's a good unit. You know what I mean? And I quite like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes I play the 3D effect, sometimes I don't. But it doesn't really bother me, you know what I mean? So that's just how it goes. Until the new 3DS came out, and I think the 3D effect on that was absolutely amazing. Once I got myself one a new 3DS, I always played it with the 3D effect. I was like, wow, flipping it. This is better than the 3DS XL, or even the original 3DS for that matter. Absolutely blew it out of the water, you know what I mean? Now the handy thing with the button, the sleep port, is when it comes to the 3DS. So I'll just use this as an example. Usually, if you're playing a game and stuff, and if you're going somewhere, usually what a lot of people do is that they close it up, and it basically goes into sleep mode. Now, obviously, with this, you can't fold it, you know what I mean? You can't fold it, so you might be thinking, how does that work? Nintendo actually added a little button on the bottom of it. So let's just pretend that the 2DS is on. Obviously it's not. Let's just pretend it's on. I flick the switch, the sleep mode, and it will literally go into sleep mode. That's how it works. And it's actually quite handy, that. I think that's a nice little bonus that they added to the 2DS. And obviously, if you want to, switch it back, obviously you can keep playing your game and stuff. It's handy that way, you know what I mean? It's really, really good. One thing a lot of people might be wondering is the 2DS worth buying? Now, the 2DS at the meantime goes for about £75, £80, which isn't bad for a cheaper 3DS. There's a lot of games that are well worth playing on the system. But one thing you've got to remember is it doesn't play the new 3DS only games, because that came out after the 2DS became a thing. So you've got to understand that. So it plays, the whole, most of the DS games, plays all the 3DS games, as well as the eShop releases and the DSiWare. It's worth it if you're not really bothered about the 3D, but I know people might think that they'd rather want the bigger size. So obviously I can't really answer that. It's basically your own preference. It's worth it if you just want to play a few games. It really, really is. But I know a lot of people see it as like sort of, you know, for children. But the thing is, a lot of adults love the, if you want to call it the original 2DS, because obviously it's a lot cheaper, but it's just comfy in the hands. It really, really is nice. So it depends on if, you know, if you want, if you're interested in getting that and stuff. But for £75, £80, it's well worth it. You know, you get the full library of 3DS games. You've got the DS compatibility as well as the digital releases on the eShop. So it's not bad and stuff. But I know one thing that might look different is what about, you know, a second circle pad. Now, obviously, the new 3DS didn't exist when this came out, but the 3DS and the XL version actually had a second circle pad, like that. Problem with it was Nintendo never made a version for the 2DS, and that's what sort of put me off with it, because a lot of those Circle Pad Pro games fully work well with the Circle Pad, or when you're playing it on a new 3DS. That's one thing that sort of limits that, you know what I mean? And it's such a shame they never made one, and I always wondered, why didn't Nintendo release a Circle Pad Pro for the 2DS? Because it would have enticed a lot of people thinking, okay, well, there's a few games I want to play, I'm not really bothered about the bigger screen, I'd rather a small unit, but I'd rather have a circle pad with it, and that's what sort of puts off a lot of people. So games, well, most like, you know, Metal Gear Solid 3D, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, are fully enhanced with the Circle Pad Pro. You can still play it on a 3DS without the Circle Pad, but obviously you need to use the stylus to move the map around for a lot of those games. But ignoring all that, you know what I mean? If you want to ignore that, it's still worth, you know, owning. If you're in a cheap budget system, well worth owning and stuff. But as I said before, I can't really make the choice for you. You know what I mean? It's how it goes with things. It's just me showing stuff. You know what I mean? Me just showing stuff. A 22-year-old showing a 2DS. You know what I mean? So, one handy thing that is, before I finish, is it comes with a power supply. So that's a handy thing if you wanted to know that and stuff. Because I know the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL don't come with flipping power adapters. I don't know why, you know what I mean? But it's just how Nintendo works. So yeah, 2DS. Interesting little handheld. I quite like it. And that's just me talking about stuff, really. So yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. And hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll see you later. Before I go, I just want to let you know that my next video will be on Monday instead of Tuesday. Reason is obviously I'm going out with family and stuff, and we're doing stuff. So the video on Monday will be uploaded a little bit earlier because I'm also spending the day with family. So I just wanted to inform you all about that. So I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday. Bye.